Hello, pursuers. Welcome to another episode of the Pursuit of Happiness podcast. I am your beloved podcast host, Naz Kazimi. Things have been quite hectic, and I mentioned it to you guys that I was be traveling, and just a lot of things have been coming up. But you know what? Let's get into some personal stuff today, okay? We're not going to be doing a recap. I do have a recap episode coming up. I just kind of want to get a little bit more candid about my life and what things are going on. Hopefully it can help somebody or resonate, or we can just come together as a community. Let's start with the ADHD. The ADHD has been ADHDing lately. So it's been about 2 weeks that I haven't taken any of my meds. I don't know why. I think I'm just trying to see if how bad the alternative really is. I think I already know because I'm so behind on things. Things are harder to kind of start up. I need a lot more rest. I'm more unmotivated. Like it requires a lot more discipline. Whereas like when you're on your medication, you're a lot more motivated than normal, you know? I have less positive moments. Like I really got to search for the positivity in things, or to try to look at things like with the glass half full rather than half empty. It's interesting, you know. It's interesting just to see. When it comes to my ADHD medication, I know that I'm not going to be on it forever. You just can't. You can't be on it forever. As I get older, especially because it's such an increase in heart rate, you know, or even significantly cutting down. But then part of the reason that I moved to Mexico in the first place was try to kind of like make my stress go down. And for a while I felt like it did, but then again it came back where I felt like I was more stressed than I ever was back at home. And then lately I've been traveling, and guess what? We're back home for a little bit. And I feel like no, I actually did do the right move to move, because the stress levels that I'm experiencing just being back for 3 days, like literally I'm sleeping. Like I don't even want to wake up. Whereas like I feel like when I'm back home in Mexico, like I sleep and I wake up when I'm rested. But when I'm back home here in Vancouver, like when I'm home, it's like I sleep because I'm like avoiding, you know? So I'm just kind of becoming more self-aware of these things. I'm definitely changing my routine when I go back to Max. The thing is, for me, like I want to succeed in Mexico. I want to succeed in moving away and figuring it out. And a lot of people that I talk to, I'm like, okay, we've already been there for 4 months. We're going to take another 6 months to really figure it out with me and my daughter. And, you know, guys, if it doesn't work out, I'm always going to be Canadian. I'll always come back home, you know? But the thing is, like, do I want to fail at it? I mean, at this age, being the year that I turned 42, I'll be 42 in October. I know that nothing's a failure anymore, you know? You don't fail at things. Failure really just means either redirection, or you've learned from mistakes and you're going to do it again, but this time around with more wisdom and knowledge and experience, right? But I don't want it to end so quick. Even with me being here, and again, like home will always be home. Like I love coming home. I love being here, but it's just not where I feel like my heart is anymore. I'm still looking for the place that I feel like I will belong, and I'm still searching for that in Mexico. Um, when I decided to move international, the goal was to move to Mexico for a few years. Mercedes go to university. I build my life there. I build a home there, potentially even, I don't know, who cares? Who knows? Sorry, get married there. I don't know. And then beyond that, once I start making money and my career takes off, I want to eventually go to Dubai. It's just the Middle East. It's closer to home. It's just the lifestyle that I like. That was my big grand manifestation. That's what I want to do, right? Sometimes I think, especially when I start to get into my depressive states, I'm like, who am I kidding? Like, do I actually think that that's going to work out for me? And then other times I wake up and I'm like, who was that person being so negative? Like, why would it not work out for me? Why do I not deserve it? You know? So I'm just manifesting. I'm doing the work that I need to do. I can't really think too far ahead. When I start to think, you guys, so far ahead, oh my God, pursuers, I start to melt down. I forget what I need to do. Instead of looking at the daily, like bit by bit that I need, like instead of I'm looking at the sum of the parts, I'm looking at like, no, sorry. Instead of looking at the parts that make the sum, I just keep looking at the sum. I look at the final picture. Of course, there's a vision that I have that is going to be the finality of it that I want to, like, But I think that's where I'm kind of gone wrong my entire life. Let's look at my weight loss. Let's look at things that I do. I think that I get to a point where I reach and I stop. Like, maintenance is hard. I've lost weight so many times and I've looked fantastic. But then I gain it back like tenfold. Like it comes back like a big um what are those things called when it's like a snow slide or a landslide, or an avalanche. It comes back like rolling in like tenfold deep, because once I get to it, I feel like I've finished. And I haven't had like thousands of like journeys like this, but for example, even with my sobriety, like I was sober for 5 years once, and then at 5 years I lost what I needed to do to maintain it. I was never part of a 12-step program. I kind of did it for myself, but I also wasn't as committed to the gym. Same with like my weight loss. Like, when you're in the moment, you never feel like you're good enough unless you're like really, really lean. And even then, sometimes I just don't feel maybe lean enough. But there are times when you get really, really lean and you're like, yeah, I'm really good. But then how do I maintain it? Is it even realistic to maintain that leanness? And I'm talking about fitness now because that is like the bread and butter of my life. And I feel like part of why fitness means so much to me is because of the fact that I do have the ADHD and I do have physical energy. Like, it's literally physical. Like, I can feel it. It's like sparks going through my body. I need to release it, So always the goal has been to try to go to the gym first thing in the morning. Mercedes goes to school, I go to the gym. Now, if that doesn't work and I can't get to the gym first thing in the morning because of A, B, and C, I will walk. I just need to get that energy out. If I don't get it out, it like manifests through me and it just becomes something else. It becomes anger or sadness or frustration or irritability, and it just, well, I'll have an off day. So like that, for example, is one thing that I have to do every day to just maintain. Even when I came to Mexico, like I just kind of wasn't able to go to the gym as much, and part of it is because I'm in a brand new country, new city, new life with me and my daughter, and it's literally just us, and there's nowhere that I can put her when I go to the gym. So it was just kind of navigating those things. Obviously, her safety means it's the number one priority. I'm not just gonna, hey kid, wait at home till I go to the gym and come back. But now that I've been there long enough, I realize that it's even safer there than it is here, leaving your kid at home alone. And she's not a kid; she's like 13, but she'll be 13 this year, so she's 12 now. But there's all these little things that you kind of start to realize about yourself. So I know that Nas is not good at, and I'm speaking in third person. Yeah, I'm not the best at maintaining. This is what I'm good at. I'm great at getting there. Like, give me the mission to get there, and I'll get there. I'm not the best at maintaining it once I'm there. I can get the house, I can get the car, I can get the body, I can get the guy. But do I keep it for long term? It never lasts long term for me. It's something, either I self-sabotage and I'm like, this is not for me. I don't know if it's an imposter syndrome thing. I don't know if it's I get bored, an ADHD thing. I'm not passionate about it. I don't know. I really don't. This is what I'm trying to navigate. The thing is, like, I don't always get into these situations because it takes so much work to get to your weight loss, right? So I put in all that time and effort to get there, and it's almost like when I get there, like, I just forget that, like, the goal was to actually get to this point and then figure it out. I'm, like, so exhausted from the journey of it just to get into that point. But, like, it's almost like when that hard stuff is about to begin, I forget that that's why I did this whole thing. I've already lost weight, like, a billion times. It's like I need to get to the point where I'm the place that I want to be, and like, how do I maintain that? And then I forget that that's what I need to do, and like, I don't want to put in the effort anymore, and that's where I need to figure out, like, is it a self-sabotage thing? Is it just, it's too much for me? I don't know. You guys, pursuers, help me out. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I buy a car. I buy a nice car. I keep it. And then the service is due, and I wait like 30,000 kilometers. In Canada, we use kilometers, and same in Mexico. Past the service date, and then I'm like, oh, shoot, maybe I should go get it serviced. Girl, you should have gotten it serviced 30,000 kilometers ago, because now there could be another issue that I have to put more money into. And maybe at that point, I just can't afford like all these kind of like issues, not only being away from my car for a while they fix it, but then putting all the money into it. And then sometimes they do need to take the car for a week or so to fix everything. And it's like, geez, at that point, like now I can't even work to make even more money to pay it off because I don't have the vehicle that I need. You know, like it's just, see these little like situations that I put myself in. And I just wonder like, why, how, like, and like I'm 42 and I don't want to think that I'm getting old because I'm not. I don't feel that I'm getting old, but I do want to shift. I don't want to be like, I mean, I love working hard for the things that I love, but it's just like, I wish that I'd already gotten to where I want, and then now I can do another set of things that are hard, like the next step. Like I'm always at the first step trying to get to the second step, and then like I sabotage that, and then I go back to step one. Like I wish that I was at step 5 for trying to figure it out rather than like or maybe this is just life. Like I don't know. I only have watching my parents, and not that they weren't like the best, but the way they want to live their life, or they have lived their life, is different than the way that I want to live my life and the way that I have lived my life. So like sometimes I get good advice, for example, my brother, and he'll be like, I think it's time for you to find someone that can like, you know, that is in the field that you want to be in, that is kind of like up the alley of where you're trying to go, so you can kind of get mentorship from them, you know. And even then, I don't know who to connect with, you know? Like, I know what I want to do. I know I have great, you guys. I don't know who's going to hear this or not, because every time I ask people to, like, let's say this. If you've gotten to this point of the podcast, go into the comments and just send me like a hello. Be like, listened up to this point. Let's have the word be pursuer. If you've listened up to this point, go comment in the comment section, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podbean, wherever you get your podcast that you're listening to this, even if it's YouTube. Go into the comments and say pursuer, so that I know that you've heard it up until this point, because let me tell you something. I have so much to tell you guys. But what I want to do is make sure that the lessons that I can put out there, I have a little bit more of an audience to listen to it, or if there's anybody listening to it. Guys, I have worked in sex entertainment. I have done the drugs. I have been a mother, single mother, and that situation is, I could write a book about it. It's book worthy. Let's just say I did not think that he would be such a big time person in the world, but apparently he is someone that carries a big name with him, and so there's just so many things that I just want to, and it's not just for monetization. Obviously that helps. You know, it's nice that like your story can be monetized. It's more for like sharing the experience, and if it can just help one other person see the flag or the red flags or even the green flags, if it can just help one other person to not use or not pick up, or to make one better choice, and to just have one extra day, you know, that they can like, you know, really figure themselves out. Like that's really what I want to do. I want to influence that way, you know. I want to make women feel confident. And I've always been confident. I've always had this confidence to myself. And I think it's just because that I knew that I was different in a way, you know, and I knew that I could like all the time when girls are just crying about their husbands or boyfriends, I'm the worst, you know? And by worst, I mean like I don't give bad advice, but I'm just like, why do you allow that to happen? And throughout my entire life, I've gotten so many women be like, Nas, I wish I was strong like you, like, but I'm just not. Like, I can't. And it's not even about being strong. It's just about like boundaries, you know? With that being said, I have also made huge mistakes when it comes to men, hence why I'm still single, ladies. And hence why I'm telling you, I could write like 16 books on this, okay, with my experience with the men that I've been with. But the point that I'm trying to make is like when it came down to it, and this is why I'm single still, is because I knew my worth was worth so much more. Do you stay in toxic? Okay, not you. Let me not generalize. Let me speak for myself. Did I stay in toxic relationships longer than I needed to? Absolutely. Why? Maybe out of boredom, the ADHD, the adrenaline rush. I don't know. But when it came down to it, when it came down to getting really nitty gritty and serious, and it's like, okay, when are we going to do this? When are we going to get married? When are we going to move forward? I dipped. I bounced. I left. I'm like, this is not the life for me. It was fun. The day by day was fun. The fights were kind of fun. I mean, toxic for sure, but kept you on your toes. Um, but when it came down to being really serious and perhaps being a wife or something like that, I was like, no, not with this one. This is not the one. He is not the one that I'm gonna put the ring on my finger and stay at home and be the wife that I know that I can be, you know? And I'm glad that I haven't just married anybody only because like um I just I just settled for anybody. I'm glad that I haven't. Um I've never really thought this way, but I finally came to a conclusion this year that my person's out there. It's just someone that I'm going to meet later on in life. Someone that perhaps is more mature than the men that I had been with in the past. And, you know, I'm in my 40s now, so I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to bear children. But if meet them in the next couple of years, perhaps a child. And I'm very open to that if it's the right one. But if it's not, I'm happy with the one that I have. I'm happy with having tons of dogs. And I'm happy with having a companion. You know, I don't need to settle because I'm afraid of being lonely. Like I can think of billions of things to do while I'm alone. And I'm never really lonely. There can be times where I can feel lonely, but I'm never lonely. But I am alone a lot. I like that. And not to mention I live with my daughter. She's with me almost 24/7. And I cherish that time with her because there's going to get a time to when she gets older and you know, she's going off to get her own space and university and et cetera, et cetera. And because maybe I didn't have my parents around much when we were younger because they were just trying to make ends meet, I've kind of done the opposite with my daughter. I want to be there with her all the time. And then I'll just kind of put my needs to the side until she's at that age where she goes off, you know? But things that I can no longer put off are things that really affect my mental health, such as the gym. So again, back to kind of how this all started when we do go back this time to Max after our trip here, because we're here for a bunch of reasons, which I'll get into next. I'm going to just make sure that I do the things I need to minimize my mental health really declining and having such vast different days. Like one's really good, one's really bad, one's really good. I kind of want to stabilize, you know, it all again. With that being said, why are we here? So we traveled back home to Vancouver home, not Mexico home. I'm still so used to calling Vancouver home. I can't wait for the day that I call Mexico home. Although my home is still there, I really want to go back because all my stuff is still there. We did move a lot of stuff down. We with the fighting that's been going on in Iran, we had my little cousin pass away, which I've discussed and talked about. And if you're on my socials, you'll see it. With that being said, a few days later, my uncle passed. Not his father. So my cousin that passed away, his father had passed many years ago from cancer, unfortunately. This is all from my dad's side. So my dad is the oldest of 8. So my cousin that recently passed in the conflicts that are going on in Iran in the street from protesting, his father was the youngest of the 8. Second youngest of the 8 of the kids on my dad's side. So it was my dad's brother's son that passed away. A few days later, my dad's other brother, who is the third oldest, passed away in his sleep. Did not wake up. Um, Peaceful way to go. You go to sleep, you don't wake up. It's not a car accident. It's not a suicide. It's not a drowning. It's nothing like that. If I could choose a way to go, it'd be in my sleep as well. It's just nice and easy. Hopefully I say goodbye to everybody and tell them I love them prior, but I just can't imagine the last things. And my heart goes out to anyone who has, and I know many, but the last couple things, like in an accident, like you're screaming and then all of a sudden you're gone. Like imagine that's the last thing. And I don't know if you're gonna, like I don't know how the afterlife is like. No one does. Like we're not there yet. We can't experience that because once you go, you go. But what a shitty thing for that to be the last. Or like you're having a drug psychosis and then you pass away. Like that's just the worst. Like I would want to go in my sleep. So regardless, obviously we didn't expect this. It's just such a big. It's sad. I've cried. My dad found out too, and he's been upset as well. My dad is again the oldest of eight. My dad did have a stroke back in 2020, and I think part of his being, experiencing something so life changing is he's kind of reached out to his family members more. I think he just came from a family where they just constantly butted heads, and I could never understand that until me and my brother started doing that. And as much as I love him, like sometimes I'm not as close to him, only because like it always ends in a fight, and like again, things to protect your mental health. But I think when it comes down to it, obviously when you see like sometimes these events that happen in your life, these life-changing ones, strokes, heart attacks, accidents, death, it really makes you reevaluate what is really important. And if for years you haven't been as close, now it's the time to get closer again. And I think that sometimes that works better because those years that you're kind of more on edge and there's more pressure and you're running around a lot more, you're going to be more irritable and there's going to be more fighting. But if you reconnect now, that has all passed and you're not looking into the past anymore. You're just being in the present, communicating in the present, chatting about today and now, and not bringing up things from the past. And at least moving forward, you have those good memories. And then when you look back, even though you weren't part of each other's lives as much, there's not as much negativity in terms of memories. I mean, there's always like, oh, I wish that we could have, gotten along better so that all those weddings and all those birthdays or Christmases we could have spent together. Great. But you've made wonderful memories regardless. And at least they're not negative with your family members. So sometimes, I mean, every situation is different, but sometimes when people don't talk for a period of time or aren't as close, they still talk, but just not are as close, and then eventually get closer, there's a positivity to that. There's nothing wrong with that. I just think that the best thing to do is that at some point you come back together again. And I think that that would be honestly the best, because you really realize that there's not much time left. Like you reach a point in your life where it's just like there's no more birthdays or weddings, or they're really far and few in between. Birthdays, of course, all the time, but I was the type of person that I didn't really have many close friends. So when people did get married, I was never invited because I wasn't friends with them anymore or had not been friends with them yet. Like I didn't meet them until after they were married. So I know that if I get married, my man is going to be so lucky because I want to be with him. I want to be a good wife. if I were to get married, guys. Like, if it gets to a point that I'm like, I really want to marry this man, that means that I'm ready for that. Like, that's where I'm at. That would be my headspace. I want to cook the dinners. I want to spend the weekends together. I don't want to have girls' weekend every weekend. I want to have couples weekends. I want to have couples things. I want to go on vacation with him. I want to have staycations with him. I want to lay in bed with him on Sundays and chat. And I want to, yes, have sex all the time. Like, because I'm very sexually inclined. So obviously I have to meet someone, I haven't done it yet because I haven't met somebody that I'm willing to either compromise for or feel like I can be that woman for. But I think that he's out there. I'm hoping he's out there. And I can't wait until I meet him and I'm able to be a wife. And if the man that I meet is someone that I meet later on in life, it must be that he's either had his own family or, divorced now and has kids, and I have my kid, and hopefully our families can come together. And I've always, maybe I should just throw it out there, really wanted someone from like another country. And I would always think like United States, like Alabama or something, because I've been watching Sweet Home Alabama quite a bit. And like we go back to the Alabama and like we like check out his family and we spend Christmases there, or he's from like Italy, or he's from Dubai. And like we go back home and that's where home is, to visit his family for like holidays. And I meet him and I cannot imagine meeting anyone in Vancouver. Vancouver men are not my type of men. And then he wants to come home to Vancouver, and then we go home to Vancouver for a Christmas or a New Year's or like a week or two in like the summer, and we spend summers in Vancouver because it's beautiful there, and it's like, and then we work from home in Mexico and like we lay in bed, and Mercedes is off in college, and then now she wants to come home and visit, and home would be Mexico, and then she comes to Mexico for a bit, and then we all travel together to Vancouver or around the world with his kids as well. If like, I put it out there, and I think I'm reaching a point in my life where I would be open to it. I don't think I'm ready quite yet because I'm still trying to, again, career-wise, really get my career down. But again, I don't mind if I'm alone for the rest of my life either, because I'm good. I have friends and I'm good at communicating and being social. So when I want to, it's not a problem for me. But to have that one person and just like, constantly make him have sex with me. God, poor guy. No, just kidding. I'm open to it now, where for a long time I wasn't open to it at all. It's so weird how things change, right? And time changes things. But I want to be the best woman. I want to figure this next part out on my own, so that when I'm with the man of my dreams that I built in my head and has magically come to life, I'm the best woman that I can be. And he can go through my phone. I have nothing. Like, I wish that I had things on my phone. Maybe 10, 20 years ago, I had people on my phone. Don't go through my phone. You can't read my messages. But now it's like, please go through it. The trust is there. I can't wait. I feel like I didn't get into relationships for so long because I wasn't ready, and nor did I trust. But I also have been putting more effort into my friendships lately, because I've met people in my life that I really cherish and I value, and those friendships I want to maintain. So a lot of that effort and energy has gone into those as well. The great thing about friends is like, you don't have to sleep with them, And sometimes when you're not as confident with your body, you don't want to be asleep with anybody. But at the same time, if I do meet my person, I want to always be my best for him. But should I not be, or something happens in my life where I have to let go a little bit of that, control of always being in the best shape and whatnot, I will not feel like he's not going to love me, like he's going to love me regardless. But again, I'm confident enough to know that if I don't feel it and there's no passion there, and let's just say I'm just not going to settle because like I've decided that I want a man now, I'm going to wait until it feels right, until I know. I want that feeling when you know. It doesn't have to be love at first sight, but it has to be the feeling that you just know, that you just are with someone, you trust them, you're not second guessing anything at the back of your head. That's what I want. Anyways, I totally just went off on like love tangents. I don't really like to talk about love too much. Sometimes I feel like when you talk about it too much, like I like the idea of manifesting and I do that quite a bit, but I feel like sometimes when you do it too much, it kind of might make the opposite effect. So I put it out there, and remember, go comment pursuer if you've read it, if you've listened to this up until this point. Then I'm gonna know. Oh crap! Yeah, people listen to this. With that being said, a little bit more about my faith, especially times like this. Especially, I think I've talked about this before, but when I had moved to Red Deer, Alberta from Iran when I was in 1988, I was 4 years old. My brother was born in 1989 in Red Deer. I had a neighbor, and her name was Megan, and there were these books, and I don't know if they're still out there. They might be really controversial now with like Gen Z and everything, but they were called Mandy and the Cherokee Legends. And it was about Mandy, who was a Christian, and her family, that they were missionaries, and they would go into these indigenous, see, this is what I'm saying, it could be controversial now, but they would go into these indigenous camps and kind of just missionary. I don't remember the whole concept of it, but I remember that I just so passionately felt Christianity and God when I was told about it. And my friend Megan would tell me about it, and I just felt it. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Then I went to Sunday school a couple times with Megan. My mom let me, and I loved it. It was fun. We talked about God. We played games because, the children's part is so different. But my parents wouldn't let me continue going because after a while they told me, we want you to wait a little bit until you're older and then make more of a decision. Because part of the reason my parents came to Canada was the freedom from not having an Islamic regime. They all, even though both my parents are Muslim, they don't practice. But, they can proudly say, yeah, we're Muslim, but they're not extremists, obviously. And they left Iran because they wanted it to be a choice. They didn't want it to be mandated on. They wanted a democracy, just like in Canada and in the United States. People can be whatever religion that they want, obviously within reason. Or even like a Dubai where like you can be any religion that you want, but at the same time, like there's certain areas that you can't just completely be naked. Like you can only like wear your bikinis at the beach and, like still like, but at the same time, they didn't want me to be not brainwashed, but constantly be going to something just because my friend does it now. I'm doing it. They really wanted me to not be attached to any religion until I was older, until I got to make my own decision, do my own research. My entire life, you guys, I've so believed and sided with Christianity. Especially in terms of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. All as one, all with the Trinity. I believed in it, and at the day I turned 18, I'm like, I'm a Christian. I'm going to start saying I'm a Christian. So there have been times, and I just want to get better at making sure that I communicate with God even when things are good, because I tend to more so rely on Him and prayer and faith when things are bad. But I found a church in Mexico, and I've started connecting with some of the women there. They are a little bit older than me, but I love learning from people, so it doesn't matter. It's not like I want to go out to a party. I want to learn. I always want to be the most stupid person in the room. I always want to be the least jacked in the gym. Sometimes I go to gyms and I'm the most jacked, just because I've been in bodybuilding so long, and I'm like, I don't want to be here. I want to be at the bodybuilding gym where I'm the smallest and I don't even look like I'm like got muscle, because I want to learn from everybody around me. And I wasn't always this way, but now I am. But I've decided that I'm going to do these sessions called the Freedom Sessions. Very similar to, I feel like guys know the NA and AA programs kind of based everything from the church, higher power. We have God. 12-step program. We have the freedom sessions. The difference is that we're not healing. We're just rediscovering or just diving deeper into our love for God and the Lord, right? So I'm going to commit to that for 28 weeks. Should I come back to Canada at any time, I can always do it online. A lot of the women travel back and forth. There was a women's group, and I want to do that too, but I think that might be a bit overwhelming. So I'm going to start with the freedom sessions first because it's about discovering yourself and just covering, like, taking some inventory, as they would say in AA and NA, of yourself and just kind of unearthing who you are, but through biblical references and through the Bible. And I'm so excited for that. And I've talked about getting baptized, me and my daughter. So there's a lot of things coming faith-wise. So, like I said, like it's been we're actually just in Mexico for 4 months, but moving forward, we are going to make the bet. Like, it's kind of nice that we got to come back home because now that we're here, I mean, me and my daughter made a plan when we go back to Mexico after our trip to Canada, we're going to really have a reset and these are the things that we're going to focus on. And it was nice to get the change of environment because now that I'm here, I realized that, because for a minute there, I thought maybe when I go back, I really won't want to go back to Mexico. Like if I go back to Canada, I won't want to go back and make Mexico home. I want to come back. And the option is there. It's always there. But then now that I'm here, I'm like, no. Mexico is starting to feel more like my home. And I'm starting to build things that I don't want to leave, or at least try it out, like I don't want to just quit so early because I'm never just a quitter. Like I really ride things out until I feel like I can't, right? And even then, like I wait a little bit and I try it again, so I want to maybe engage a little bit more in AA and NA meetings, because these are things that every day will help with my mental health. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on and a lot of things that I'm looking forward to. So things are starting very slowly, but starting to fall in place. And it's just a good reminder that if you do the things that you need to do every day, these things will come rather than just waiting for it. So I think I'm good at doing the things that I need to do every day, minus some of the things that I haven't really kind of been able to do for the past few months. But in general, I'm good at doing the things I need to do every day. It's the waiting for it to happen part that I kind of cling to, and I need to change that, I think. And that's just immersing myself. And even though my friendships, because of the ADHD and just the way my brain works, have to have some sort of substance, even just being part of groups that will help the time go by and kind of leave a positive effect on you is kind of what I'm looking and aiming to next, because and maybe it's the autism. I have never been officially diagnosed as, I'm late diagnosed ADHD, but maybe this is where I will be able to build a foundation and not necessarily be so focused on what's going to happen next and just be way more in the present, because that's what keeps me the most sane, Anyways, I'm kind of going on tangents now. That's really all I kind of want to talk to you guys about this time anyways. Kind of give you where I am in life. And if anyone has any comments, questions, concerns, please, I've said this before, find me on my socials. If you've made it up until this point now, there's the references that I put into this podcast. Comment pursuers in the comment section, whether it's on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio. Amazon Music, I have my podcast as well. Please comment. And if you would be so kind to subscribe, comment, like, share my podcast, I would really appreciate that as well. The numbers are going up, so I appreciate all you that are listening. We will return to regular scheduled programming. Well, not regular, but the shows, you guys, are so good. I will never not stop watching my Housewives in the Valley, right? So that's coming up too. And I'm going to do another question session coming up probably in the next week. I have had some questions come in, so I'm just kind of going to address some of those. With that being said, thank you so much for listening. Send me your advice. Find me on my socials. Go into the show notes. You'll see all my socials there, my YouTube. Please subscribe to that as well. I would really appreciate that. Let's connect more. Send me some feedback. If you go on the webpage, there's a place that you can leave me a voicemail. I would love to do something interactive soon when I get the numbers up. With that being said, I hope that this has resonated with somebody. If you want to send me your 2 cents, please do. Ask me a question, please do. With that being said, thank you so much, pursuers, for just following me on my journey. We are going to get to the top together, I promise. This isn't just for me, this is for everyone. So I appreciate you being on the journey with me. And until the next episode, please take care of yourselves. Think about your mental health. Do one thing every day that's for you and your mental health, whether that's your self-care, you're reading your book, you're waking up and meditating, which I'm not even close to being there yet, but the meditating part I can't. I do, but it's just I can only do 5 minutes. Tangent again. Anyways, anything. Go for a walk for 10 minutes. Do one thing every day to just ground you and put you in the moment. And it's for you and your mental health. I love you guys. Thank you for being on this journey with me. Talk to you soon.